Come closer, dear. I don't raise my voice much these days, and this isn't a story meant to be rushed anyway. Some memories, they don't like being hurried. And besides, if you're going to listen, you should listen properly, because what I'm about to tell you shaped every single thing I became. I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, out on the flat, quiet plains of rural Minnesota. If you squint hard enough, my childhood probably looks ordinary. We had chores, church, family dinners. My brother and I even had a computer, one of those old Commodore 64s. But don't let that fool you. We weren't just religious, we were sealed away. You see, we lived inside belief the way other children lived inside neighborhoods, thick, enclosing, and unforgiving. Television existed, yes, but only if it praised God. Games existed, but only if they quoted scripture. Anything else was secular, and secular was just another word for poison. Grandpa made sure we understood that early. And Grandpa, well, he was everything. We moved from one faith group to another until eventually there were no groups left at all. Just us, my family, a handful of others, a remote farm that felt less like land and more like exile. Grandpa called himself our shepherd, and we were his flock. Life revolved around scripture and soil. Every morning started before the sun, 5:30 sharp. We gathered in a barn painted black and reborn as a chapel, our breath fogging the air as we prayed aloud. Not for blessings, oh no, but for survival. The end times were always just around the corner, you see, always looming. And sickness, that was never treated the way you'd expect. Grandpa forbade modern medicine, called it the devil's crutch, said anyone who relied on it wore their lack of faith like a medal. Prayer healed, suffering purified, and I believed him. God help me, I believed him. One winter, my little brother fell terribly ill. I know now, because age brings clarity, that it was probably pneumonia. Back then, we called it spiritual attack. Grandpa laid hands on him day and night, praying demons out of his body. We fasted, we punished ourselves. No doctors came, no antibiotics, only oil, scripture, and spoken faith. And my brother lived. Grandpa declared it a miracle. I declared it proof. But not every child survived the winters. Before I turned 10, I attended 2 funerals where the coffins were heartbreakingly small. We didn't report deaths or births. Grandpa had ways around taxes, too. We had money, but we rejected comfort. Indoctrination mattered more than warmth. Outsiders were dangerous, worldly, Grandpa said, and that word tasted foul in his mouth. We didn't attend public schools. We didn't make friends. We stayed cloistered, absolute in our separation. Still, life wasn't all terror. Summers were berries and creek water, and bonfires where we sang and shared testimonies. Winters were scripture memorized by flashlight when the generators failed. Christmas came, but joy didn't. Grandpa said it had been corrupted by greed. We prayed instead, long hours in that black chapel. People talk about the 90s like it was a shared dream. MTV, sitcoms, culture. For us, it was like peeking through a cracked fence. We saw the Gulf War on TV, and Grandpa trembled with excitement, proof of prophecy. Ruby Ridge and Waco confirmed his fears. Y2K was his favorite sermon. We practiced hiding from government raids, root cellars, weapons, fear drilled into our bones. Now, I've told you about the moment that strengthened my faith. Let me tell you about the one that destroyed it. In the fall of 1997, not long before my 15th birthday, my grandmother snapped. She was cooking dinner when she attacked Grandpa with a knife. No warning, no explanation. The men dragged her away, kicking, screaming, biting. I only recognized her by the dress she wore. They wrapped cloth around her head so she wouldn't bite them. They told us she was possessed, and I believed them. They chained her to a bed in the chapel. Grandpa stayed with her day and night, praying. We prayed from our homes, begged forgiveness. I was hopeful. Prayer had worked before, hadn't it? But she didn't improve. At night, her screams carried across the fields, thin, constant, endless, until dawn took her voice. During the day, she slept. We were told very little. Later, I learned Grandpa believed she was possessed by Leviathan, a demon prince, invincible, final. He believed defeating it would bring the rapture, but when she worsened, fear crept into him. If God wouldn't save her, then God had abandoned him. We felt that fear, in his sermons, in his eyes. One night, he made us circle the barn, every man, woman, and child praying aloud while she screamed inside. She shouted warnings, told us to run, called Grandpa the devil. We thought it was the demon speaking. I don't anymore. Weeks later, we were told to say goodbye. She was silent then, too weak to scream. Her eyes stared through us. Something had been broken beyond repair. She died shortly after. Grandpa unraveled, starved himself in prayer. Then one morning he walked into the woods and never returned. My father said the angels took him. I don't believe that. Afterwards, I was chosen, sent to college, groomed to become an attorney to defend the farm. They sent me into the outside world like a spy. College broke me open. Philosophy, history, reason. I realized my grandmother hadn't been possessed. She'd been murdered. I reported it. The police came, asked questions, left. The man responsible was dead, so I left too. I still believe in God, just not the one Grandpa preached. I pray for my parents most nights, but I cannot share a table with people who helped kill their own mother. Age hasn't softened this story, it sharpened it. And now I tell it to you, so you will listen, and so you will remember, because faith should never be allowed to wear cruelty like a halo. Age hasn't softened these memories. If anything, it's sharpened them, like a blade honed slowly over decades of silence. I tell you this not for pity and not for forgiveness. I tell you because these things happened, and because too many people mistake cruelty for faith when it wears the right words and the right smile. Someone has to remember it honestly. So thank you for sitting with me this long. Most people don't. If you're willing, come back and visit me again. There are other incidents from those years, other moments that shaped who I became, and some that still wake me at night. I don't tell them all at once. Old bones can only carry so much truth at a time. But if you return, I'll tell you the next one.